good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on some statements. Well, basically, a statement that uh, Mike Beasley made about Ice Cube and the Big Three League, right? And so, first of all, in my opinion, I like the Big Three. I think because it's different, it's a 3-on-3 league. And the thing I like about it too is that you get to see these guys operate more in a one-on-one. Like it's basically one-on-one. So it's harder to hide somebody on a defense because there's only three guys out there on the court, right? So if you are somebody who's just like a really good one one-on-one basketball player, whether it be taking somebody off the dribble or playing with your back to the basket, I think the big three is good. Then on top of that, for guys, older guys who have played in the NBA and retired, I think that I like that format too of the 3-on-3 because you're not ripping and running up and down the court. You playing half court basketball, and it's just different from the NBA. And I think that it would be so much harder to compete with the NBA for Ice Cube. Like if he had a 5-on-5 semi-pro league, it would be harder for him to compete. Really, I think that for a while the NBA was kind of like, and Ice Cube has spoke on it. The NBA was like kind of like putting obstacles in his way so this league would not survive. And I think if Ice Cube had not have went public with that and put the spotlight on it, then like the big three probably wouldn't be around. And so when I heard the statements that Mike Beasley said that he didn't like the big three, he thought that the big three kind of was getting over on players and that their facilities were not as good as the NBA. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the audio for what Mike Beasley said, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give some more of my input on what I think about what Mike Beasley said.
I don't like the big three.
You a 5-on-5 guy.
I'm a 5-on-5 guy, and then it's not ran well. Just simple as that. We got like 60 players or some shit like that, and only 2 trainers. I do it because it's the only thing available. I do thank Cube and everybody for giving me the platform to show that I'm still hungry and can still do it. But like, it just need to be ran better. Them players getting hurt, and then they doing it just for the check. So you're basically shackling these players up. I'm not giving you better conditions because you need the check. Honestly,
All right, so now Mike Beasley did say about the conditions. Like I said, this is not the NBA. So, they're operating on a budget. And I think that they're doing the best that they that they can do operating on a budget. And they're not going to have as many trainers and the same type of medical staff as the NBA because they don't have that they don't have that budget as and it's for some parts of it, it was hard for Ice Cube to really get the sponsors because a lot of the all of the major sponsors also have relationships with the NBA, right? And so I think if they wanted to do business with the NBA, it's kind of hard. Like the NBA can call in some favors and ask them, not to really do business with Ice Cube. So the fact that Ice Cube is even getting any business, I think it is really good. And I don't understand how Mike Epps thinks that Ice Cube with the Big Three League is shackling these guys up. Because when you think about it, most of the guys who either played in the NBA and retired or had an opportunity to play in the league and really couldn't find a permanent home. So I think that this Big Three League, in my opinion, is it's like another outlet for these guys to play and to get, to make some money and get well, not really getting noticed because I don't think like even if Mike Mike Beasley, in my opinion, probably I think his time in the NBA been over with. and I haven't seen anybody come from the big three and go back to the NBA because, like I said, it's a 3-on-3 league. And so when if a basketball scout was really scouting somebody at that, which a professional scout was really scouting somebody from the big three, which I doubt that they would. It's hard to translate those half court skills or 3-on-3 skills over to the NBA, like when you're evaluating players and stuff like that. So it's really just strictly for entertainment. And I think that, you know, in Ice Cube's defense, when you try to set up this type of league so you can allow guys who've been away from the game to come back and make some money doing what they love to do, that's good. You know, I don't know how else, like Mike Beasley, how else he can make money if without going overseas, it'll be hard to make money. So this right here could be an opportunity for him to make money. And I know him and Lance Stevenson was doing some type of, I think they was doing like a 2-on-2 challenge where they play other people, 2-on-2. They played each other in a 1-on-1 battle, and Mike Epps beat Lance Stevenson. But then after that, they were doing like, they was playing like a 2-on-2 challenge for money against other people. I don't know what happened with that. But and it's just so hard, like I said, for these guys to make money playing basketball and get and get some exposure at the same time. And it just seems like no matter what you do for people, it's not enough. It's not enough. He said they got 60 players and they only have 2 trainers. I mean, it is what it is. So I don't know. I want to know, what do you all think about the statement? Do you think that, I mean, I know that Mike Beasley is entitled to his own opinion, but I do think that he has to take into consideration like what Ice Cube is up against, going up against the NBA. Because even though these guys are retired, I think what the NBA feel like, once you are an NBA basketball player, it's almost like they think like they own you for the rest of your life. Because if it's almost like they own you for the rest of your life, right? Because if you can make money playing basketball, or if there's a market for these guys after their NBA career, then the NBA wants that. They want a cut of that. They don't want, like these guys to go off somewhere else and make money and to have some other business flourish when they could be making money off of these guys still, even after they left the NBA. I think that then you have to think about it. Like, they have some of these guys still have medical benefits, right? And so if you go off and you play in another league and you wind up getting hurt, you can, like those medical benefits will still kick in. So it's some things to be considered, with the NBA. Like I said, I like the big three. Ice Cube, is doing, I think, in my opinion, the best he can do in order to, to get these guys paid and, and have them play basketball and do the things that they like. I think it was a good idea for them to come up with the 3-on-3, in my opinion, because it's a whole different format from what the NBA is going through, right? That makes it different. And then on top of that, like I said, you have ex NBA basketball players who have probably retired, or guys who played in the league who couldn't find a permanent, who couldn't find a permanent position in the league. So this right here, this alternative, this 3-on-3 league, I think is, to me, it's a good idea. It's good marketing. I just think that people should be careful about criticizing, and knocking this 3-on-3 league, especially when they competing with the NBA. Basically, they getting the crumbs left over, whatever, that the NBA has left over. If the NBA didn't want this 3-on-3 league to exist, they could quietly do things behind the scenes to sabotage it. So, Ice Cube is up against a whole lot when it comes to this 3-on-3 league. I think it's good to get these guys an outlet somewhere else where they can play at. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you think about it. If you think that, like the criticism that Mike Beasley gave, if it was warranted, or if you think that, like I do, like Ice Cube just basically doing the best he could do under these circumstances. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'm gonna check y'all out in the next video.